Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and tonight I'm going to go through just quickly on what's happening in the market. So before we start, just the usual housekeeping: subscribe, like the video if you find this plain English version of blockchain technology helpful and useful, so that way I know that you are listening out there and I can continue. My aim, as I mentioned before, is to make blockchain more out there, spread the word so more people know about it, more people can be involved. I'm uh, more importantly targeting here females, girls. We need more of you in the tech space. So let's get started. Bitcoin, what has been happening? So the word on the street was, let's break that 7,000 AUD mark, and we did do that sometime last week, there around about there, and it dropped. It wasn't sustained for very long. We dropped quickly under the $17,000 mark, and as you can see, it impacts on other coins too. Usually the trend price of other crypto follows the trend price of Bitcoin. So that's why we often have to look at what Bitcoin is doing. So we look at the analogy that we've used before, as like in the beginning of the internet, where Alta Vista was everyone's search engine, and then along came Google. So what everyone knew before Google came on the scene was Alta Vista. So what everyone know about blockchain is Bitcoin. Not many people know about the other upcoming ones. So we use Bitcoin as like a guidance as to where the price will move. So as you can see here, we had a big jump up. So we had an uptrend where the low down here is not lower than the first low. And then we go up again, and then the low down here is not lower than the previous low, and so forth. So here is, to me, very important to keep note. As long as this doesn't drop below here, doesn't drop below about, what is this, 15,700, basically around about here. As long as it doesn't drop below here, then we can possibly still continue with our uptrend. But if it does breach and lower than say 15,700, if Bitcoin price goes lower than 15,700 AUD, then we possibly have the start of downtrend. So as you know, I'm a bit risk averse. So usually when the price dips like this, and therefore the price of other coins also dip, is when I enter to buy. But if I can see that there's more dip to come, then I will hold off my buy. So why do I have Algorand chart open over here? Because I'm already thinking of which crypto I'm going to top up next in this. I would say it's like shopping season when everything's on a discount. So to me, everything right now is on a discount because everything is on the low price. So I'm thinking, where should I spend my money wisely in terms of shopping, in terms of investment? Then where should I invest my money? Where should I better invest that in the current low price? And one of my favorites is actually Algorand. So that's why I've been looking at this chart. So why do I like Algorand? I don't know if I can cover it in just one video, but I will try, because I promised that my video will be less than 15 minutes. So let's start with the whole concept of um, proof of stake or proof of work. So do you remember when I mentioned to you about blockchain and how a new block is created. A new block is created when a consensus is achieved, and then the new block is added to the chain. But how do we achieve that consensus? So with Bitcoin, the consensus is by proof of work. What does that mean? Proof of work is where a miner, who is the computer that mines new blockchain, they're referred to as a miner. When a miner has to solve very complex algorithm or puzzle, and as soon as they finish figuring out that complex puzzle, then they have the right to put the next block on the chain, and they get rewarded for that. Now, what's the issue with proof of work is basically it requires lots and lots of energy in terms of lots and lots of servers. Those computing power, there's lots of computing powers required to solve the complex algorithm to then put the next block on the chain. And it also takes a long time because it's very complex algorithm. So my research says it's about 24 minutes at the moment to put one new block on a chain, and it requires lots of energy because of the computing power. Now, another way of reaching the consensus of adding the new block on the chain is what they called proof of stake. Now, there are many proof of stake. I can cover that next time, but VeChain, for example, uses proof of stake. Well, Algorand uses what they call pure proof of stake. Now, what does that mean? Proof of stake means your say in with the next block that is added to the chain depends on your stake in the blockchain. So, in this case, in the pure proof of stake method, it means that the more tokens you have, then the likelihood that a user will be chosen and the weight of their proposal and vote is directly proportional to its stake. So the more coins you have, the more coins you can stake. That means the higher likelihood that you will be chosen as the participant to whom decides what the next block added to the chain is. Does that make sense? So if you have 90% of the tokens, for example, of Algorand, then you have very high likelihood of being chosen to participate in the consensus method to add the next block on that chain. But if you have only 10%, then you have only 10% chance to be chosen to participate. Now, this is good because if you are intending to be malicious, you have to own 90% of the token, right? And that's lots of money, billions of dollars. So if you want to be malicious, you first have to have all that money and stake it, and then enter or create a corrupt or false data into the next block and the blockchain. But by doing that, then everyone knows that Algorand's been tampered with, and the value of Algorand will drop. And therefore, your billions of dollars that you staked can possibly halve, or you possibly lose it, because if they can prove that you're the bad person who did this, then they take your money away. That's what staking is all about. If you get away with it, then what you staked, the value of your tokens decrease, because people know that Algorand is no longer secure, and the value then decrease. So if you don't have the money, the likelihood of you having control over the consensus is very low, because the consensus is not just done by just one node, but as a consensus. You need other people or other nodes to agree with what block you're proposing to be added. And once the majority agree, then that new block is created. So, in other words, if you're a minority, then it's impossible for you to convince the other nodes that the false block that you're trying to add is the right block to add. And so, yeah, there's no motivation for a bad actor, they say, or someone who's intending to be malicious. There's no motivation for them to put in such a huge stake, like 90% or more than 50% of the Algorand's token, in order for them to be malicious on the Algorand blockchain, because A, they may lose all of the money that they stake. B, the value of their tokens will decrease because Algorand's proven to be insecure. So there you go. That's what pure proof of stake is. There are other proof of stake method, bonded proof of stake, and it's explained down here, and delegated proof of stake. I can cover that in other other cryptocurrency topic where they actually do use delegated proof of stake and bonded proof of stake. But the big difference here between Bitcoin and Algorand is the fact that Bitcoin uses proof of work, which is a lot of energy and it's slower, and Algorand uses proof of stake, which happens to be 125 times faster than Bitcoin's proof of work. I don't know how I'm doing with time here, but I might have to have another video to talk about Algorand's use cases, which is how other companies and organizations out there or implementing Algorand. So if I just go quickly, and maybe I can go deep dive in the next video, I've just highlighted here the implementation of Algorand around the world, so globally. I'll start with the dearest here, Australia, implementing Meld Gold, which is a digital version of gold so that people can buy and sell gold without holding onto a physical gold. So they use Algorand for those transactions. SFB Technologies announced that the blockchain for the world's first national digital currency, the Marshallese sovereign. So the Republic of the Marshall Islands will be introducing sovereign digital currency. So if you don't know what sovereign currency is, it's basically what you and I refer to as cash. So all the banks in the world, our money, if we deposit money, we see it as numbers on a screen. They only have a limited amount of cash, if you will, in their holding for someone who comes up to the bank and say, I would like to withdraw my money. They only have a specific amount of reserve. If every single one of their customers, a bank's customer, go to a bank and say, I would like to withdraw my money, then they won't not have enough sovereign currency to cover that. So that's the first digital currency for Republic of Marshall Islands on Algorand. Flenfin technology aims to facilitate the recording of over 400 million digital identities across Africa on a nothing but mobile phone. So here in Australia, we don't have a national ID card, but other countries out there, they do have a national ID card that says who you are, where you were born, your date of birth, and sometimes your fingerprint record. So what the Africa is doing through FlexFin technology here is having that national identity on blockchain. So that's quite important. With the entire continent is on it. Trusting Algorand is quite significant. Planet Watch is America building the first immutable air quality ledger utilizing the Algorand blockchain and Internet of Things technologies. I covered Internet of Things when we covered Chainlink, so if you missed that, what the concept of Internet of Things or IoT is, then look at the Chainlink video, please. Just quickly here. Monerium supporting programmable and redeemable e-money on the Algorand protocol. So Monerium um, is the first authorized provider of licensed e-money for blockchain. So it's a redeemable e-money. So they're based in Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. You can check that out. SIAE is based in Italy and is the largest copywriting company in the world. So the reason why I highlighted these is I want to illustrate how Algorand is being uh, implemented across the globe globally, so not just specific to one country favoring Algorand. And so going back to, hey, is shopping, everything's on a discount, where am I putting my money? Next, I am going to look at adding my Algorand. So I don't know about you, please do your own research. I am not a financial advisor, and all I do is just research, read, listen to other people, and look at what the chart is saying. Like I said before, if this falls below 15,700, that we might have a further dip. So yeah, be careful where you place your order here. But if it doesn't breach that 15,700, then we may go up. So you also don't want to miss the boat here. So hedge your bet, maybe buy a little bit. I don't know, but that's all up to you. I'll leave it up to you to do your research. Again, before I part, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know you're listening. Let me know that this has been helpful to you. Till next time.